Welcome. My name is Mark S. Gardner, and today's episode is on your retirement roadmap. Income is the outcome that matters most in retirement. We're going to talk about taxes and retirement, but before I kind of go into this, I want to ask any of you viewers, have you ever either wanted to skydive or possibly have skydived? I know it may seem like a very strange question that I'm asking you. However, for most that have, it's feeling like you would think jumping out of that plane and automatically going straight down to earth, but that's not the case. You actually, the first 6 seconds, kind of float on a cloud, and it's called velocity, terminal velocity. And it's an incredible sensation. But then something else happens. You start getting, the ground starts getting closer to you, and it seems like it starts moving right at you. And this phenomena, rush, is at incredible speed. And if you're a skydiver and you don't know when to pull the ripcord or how to pull that ripcord, you won't have time because you're rushing to the ground at about 120 miles per hour, which can really ruin your day. Professional skydivers know when to deploy that parachute and before they feel the ground rush, but it takes training and discipline, which is in many cases why you have to have a tandem jump. And the master jumper in the back knows exactly when to deploy that chute. Now, why am I talking about skydiving, and what does this have to do with your retirement? I'm guessing that many of you may have started connecting the dots to my analogy here. But right now, since January 1st, 12,000 of you out there, viewers, have started becoming baby boomers 65. And over the next decade or so, by 2030, there'll be 70 million people rushing towards their retirement. Now, the ground is coming up fast. The problem is that most people don't know when to pull the ripcord and plan for a safe landing. They wait until it's too late, and the retirement will hit him like a freight train, coming right at you. So the purpose of today's podcast is to help you land safely, to avoid that critical ground rush mistake. I've seen many people in my 4 decades of business working with pre- and post-retirement planning fall into this without a plan. And it's absolutely doesn't feel very good because you wake up and you don't know where you're going. So today, I'm going to arm you with some knowledge, some skills that make your entire retirement experience a whole lot more enjoyable. There are 6 challenges and considerations one must address before and during retirement. So I'm going to share with you that there are 3 categories out there that affect you in retirement. And one of them is income is the outcome that matters most in retirement. So where do you get the income? It comes from your own investments in retirement. It comes from any other stocks investments or bond investments that you may have. And obviously your 401k or IRA come into play. And if you have rental properties or oil and gas interest or alimony. So then you're affected on your Social Security benefits, because out of your Social Security benefits, it pays for Medicare. Now, if your other income is too high, your Social Security can actually be taxed as high as 85%. And another area is happy people live a lot longer, and What's important is your paycheck coming in on a monthly basis, knowing what you have income-wise so you know how to spend, which ultimately gives you your paycheck. So going back, there are really three areas that an individual goes through in their lifetime. Somewhere in your early life, you started working up until 55. And when you hear 55, what does that mean in most cases? 55 is like a speed bump. You kind of slow down. So up until that point, it was your accumulation stage. From 55 to 65, whoa, I told you, you need to start preserving the dollars. That's your next stage. And then when you start taking income for retirement, that's your distribution stage. And most people believe that they need a large pile of money, but that's not always the case. People need to figure out really what their monthly living expenses are. We help you in doing that. So I've been asked many times by people, or I asked them, sorry, what day of the week do you end up spending the most money? And I've gotten answers, and you might think about it for just a second. I've gotten whether it's Friday, Saturday, or Monday. It's Saturday. Now, not being male chauvinist, but women may go out, get their hair done, and so forth. The kids are doing their thing. The husband may be playing golf. And then the wife and the husband get back together and go out to dinner or go to a show or something. But in retirement, guess what? Every day is a Saturday. People don't budget. People overspend. So my objective is to kind of help you go through those things. Our firm will look at those things, but there are 6 concerns, major concerns or considerations today that you need to be aware of. Longevity. Now, God doesn't tell us when the day he's going to take us to heaven. So outliving one's financial assets resulting because people are living longer. They're living in their 70s, 80s, 90s, and 100s. Now, the liquidity, access to one's assets to meet your life events, there are times in unexpected financial needs. A roof. Here in Texas, we have issues with tornadoes and hurricanes. It could be lawsuits. It could be numerous things. Your kids could need money. And then there's inflation. And that's the reduction in real purchasing power, out there. So I want to bring that up. I just came back from an Ed Slott program, folks, on retirement planning. It was a 2-day workshop. And it was in San Diego, beautiful San Diego. And guess what? Gas prices were $5.89. I was shocked. When I came back to Dallas, I was so happy to come back home. I saw $2.89. That's a pretty significant difference. And perhaps many of you have seen the cost of living really dramatically go up. And those people that are on fixed income, it really is becoming much, much more difficult. And mortality, loss of financial assets because of the result of a partner passing or a partner also going into a nursing home, can really wreak havoc to a family's budget. And Social Security, if statistically the woman, if they're the same age as their husband, she will outlive him 5 to 8 years. So what does that mean? The cost of health care goes up dramatically each year. And she could not only run through all her money, because Social Security is not geared for that, to cover your health care costs. And then you've got what, in my opinion, is one of the most significant concerns that many people aren't really delving into and thinking about, and that's taxes, because it's the decrease in your income, the assets of your impairment, also of legacy, because of these increased taxes. I'm going to show you a little graph here of taxes. And if you can look, you'll see 92, 94% in the yellow. President Reagan, when he took office, he was asked, well, how come you only do 2 movies a year? And he said, because they take too much dang taxes out of my paycheck. Well, it was 72, 74%, 77%. And he brought it down to 70, 72. Now, whether you voted for Donald Trump or not, or whether you like him or not, we're in the lowest tax bracket today. And there's also what is called the sunset rule. So it gives us an opportunity to start helping you for a short period of time, move some of the money from forever tax to never tax situation. And Congress is your biggest culprit. Why? Why am I saying that? In 2019, they went from requiring you to take money out of your retirement at 70 and a half to 72. Now you may say, oh, well, that's good. Gives me more time. Well, then at the end of 2022, they moved it on out from 72 to 73, 74, and 75, depending on when you were born. Now, why is this significant? Where do you see taxes in your lifetime? I can tell you, without a doubt in my mind, it's going higher. It's got to. Our deficit is in the $30 trillion plus area. And if any of you have tracked interest rates, they've gone up from almost, 0.5% to the 7+% today. Now, what does that impact us managing and paying our debt? We pay over $1 trillion annually a year in Social Security. In our what we owe in our debt, $1 trillion. We've been, our government's just been writing checks like there's no tomorrow. And I have a concern about that. You should too. At the end of this podcast, I will give you an opportunity to be able to see what your taxes will be. And if done right, we might be able to show you where you could cut your taxes from 2.5 to 3 times the amount that you would pay over your lifetime if you lived to, let's say, 90 or 92. And, like I said earlier, people are living longer. They're living into their 70s, 80s, 90s, and 100s. And my concern is to have money being available for you. And personally, when I was 16, I woke up one morning in the middle of the night and I heard my mother crying. And my mother said, David, you have cancer in your lungs and your kidney, the doctor told us. And my father, in his strong voice, whispering back, Ruth, believe in God, everything will be okay. Well, folks, they didn't plan for a 53-year-old man to die within that year. They didn't plan that a 44-year-old widow would be responsible to run a business, take care of 4 children, and at that time, women, not like today, who are some CEOs of public traded companies, have their own company. They didn't take a liking to dealing with my mom. Not anything against her. The world was different. So my mother had to sell a business that was really a good business. They grew the company from 1 truck to 14 trucks over about a 10 to 15 year span. And unfortunately, my mother had to work 2 jobs. Now, why is this important? This may not be your family situation or concern, but one of the 6 that I've outlined and shared with you today could be. And it's very important to get a handle on concerns and how does taxes affect you? Because what you don't want is to wake up one day and not have enough money to take care of yourself. And now, most people I have talked to have either an IRA, a 401k plan, and by the way, the average person may have 7 different jobs over their lifetime, and they've worked over 90,000 hours in their life at companies. So I'll ask you a question on your statement, your IRA statement, or your 401k statement, or the government statement that from the company that or entity that you work for. Is that 100% yours? Now, I know you may say it's got my name on there, and I know you may say, well, it's my wife and I. Ultimately, no. So why am I saying no? Because it's either yours or it's theirs. You would say, what do you mean theirs, Mark? THE capital IRS. You've got Uncle Sam waiting in the wings for you to retire. And if you feel retirement years where taxes are going to go higher over time, well, you keep putting in max in your retirement account, you're going to have an unpleasant awakening when they start taking those dollars away. You may have $1 million in your retirement account, but you don't have $1 million that is ultimately becoming in your hands. So what to me is an IRA? What to me is one of your retirement funds? It's an IOU to the IRS sometime in your future. So my partner, Gabriel Herzik, and our team look to see if we can help you qualify to convert your nest egg of retirement funds from forever taxed to never taxed. And at Retire Well, our goal is to help you to look at the tax rates. And because right now, again, income is the outcome that matters most in retirement. You want to know that you're going to have X amount of dollars to work with for your paychecks and your playchecks. And if I came to you and I said, look, you may still have a mortgage today, and I were able to tell you, okay, I'm going to give you a new mortgage, let's say 15 years or 30 years out, and I'm not going to charge you anything until the 30 years or the 15 years. Would you take it? No. No one prudent would take that deal. because you don't know where interest rates will be. In 1978, when Jimmy Carter was in office, to 1982, we saw unbelievable inflation. I literally, when I had sold a tax-exempt bond for 14%, it was a housing bond, tax-exempt, 14% tax-exempt. Interest rates were 19 and 20 and 21% at that time. And it was unbelievable. So as a result, the Secure Act 1.0 and 2.0 have really put some questions on individuals. Why? Because the beneficiary situation, when the husband and the wife pass, the assets will go to their children, conceivably, and it can bump you up, or your kids up into another tax bracket. And it used to be what was called the stretch IRA. And they made away with it. And what do they have now? When either or both the parents have to take what is called a required minimum distribution, RMD, when those who inherited, they will have to continue taking that RMD. And what was a stretch IRA became either a 5-year payout to receive all those dollars, or 10 years, depending on the individual and the entity that it's in. This all is confusing with the new tax laws and how things are. And the real key takeaways are: income is the outcome that matters most in retirement. Most of our clients want to know what's really important to them is they want larger inheritance, they want more control over their money, and they want less taxes. If that's something that's important to you, we need to talk. If you're concerned now, after listening to this podcast, on what and where your taxes will lead you to, and your tax retirement dollars are, again, Gabriel and I and my team, our team, are happy to give you a complimentary hour of our time to review where you are and where you want to go. Friends, thank you for listening to today's episode of Your Retirement Roadmap. Income is the outcome that matters most in retirement. If you are like most of us, you've received sometime in your past a letter or an email that had a PS on it, a postscript. And my postscript to you is: your greatest gift to your children is not to move in with them. We'll show you how. If this episode resonated with you, you can contact me at markgardner@retirewelldallas.com, or you can call me at 214-762-2327, or just simply go to my website, retirewelldallas.com. Thanks for listening, and make it a great day. Look forward to hearing back from you. Thanks again.